The Peach State's Latino leaders are being recognized in a really big way. The Georgia Hispanic Chamber just unveiled its annual list of the state's 50 most influential Latinos. From business to public safety, these honorees are shaping our communities. And joining us this morning live to talk about it is Chamber President and CEO Veronica Maldonado-Torres. We appreciate you joining us. This is a big recognition. It really does matter. So what do people often, you think, misunderstand, Veronica, about the size and diversity of our state's Latino population?
Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about one of my favorite subjects, Latino leadership and our influence on the economy. And I would say, we're job creators, we're innovators, we're advocates, we're bridge builders, we're in every sector of society. We are as diverse as the Latin American countries that we come from, but what keeps us really at the center is food, culture, music, and family. And so, yes, we just celebrated our 50 most influential Latinos in Georgia event at Truist Park. It was a beautiful reflection of, stories of folks that are doing hard work, that are contributing to our communities, that have a heart to serve and to give back. With over 450 people present, we highlighted 8 folks inducted into our Hall of Fame, which means they have been consistent in their effort in delivering impact to our community, whether they're a restaurateur or in the nonprofit sector or in government positions. And that was amazing to hear some of their stories and their contributions and how they're creating jobs and making an impact. In addition to those, we did have the 50 most influential Latinos that range from throughout our state. And again, it was a wonderful time to share the positive storytelling around our influence and our impact.
Yeah.
We represent about 1.2 million Latinos in the state of Georgia that call us home. I know my family's been here for over 40 years, and we make about 11% of the state's population. About 900,000 live in Metro Atlanta. We're young. We're vibrant, we're an entrepreneurial community, and we are a driving force to Georgia's economy, workforce, and consumer base.
I love that. And you also mentioned that the Latino community is growing, shaping the economy and the culture. So important here in Metro Atlanta. So you talk about influence. We were just looking at some of the video from your event at Truist Park. How do you go about selecting these honorees? Because I'm sure you have a lot of great people to choose from.
Absolutely. This year we had over 600 submissions of folks that, that folks nominated to be considered for this, prestigious recognition. And let me tell you, there are so many unsung heroes out there, so many stories that we don't know about. We always encourage folks, if you didn't see someone that should be there, let us know at the Georgia Hispanic Chamber and make sure that you nominate them, that you submit their information. But, we looked at a set of core criteria, their impact in their community, their engagement over a long-term period, the various sectors that they represent, and also the amount of time that they've been doing this work. What does that ripple effect really look like in those key sectors and areas? And do they have the core values and the ethics that, we want to elevate and demonstrate as values and principles of our community?
Yeah, and it's great, Veronica, that this is all happening, of course, at the start of Hispanic Heritage Month. Everyone's excited about the festivities and events coming up. I do want to give a quick shout out to our very own honoree. The list included our station general manager here, Christy Gonzalez. She was honored among those 50 most influential. We're so proud of her. So how do you see the list shaping some of the business and civic partnerships across Metro Atlanta and really beyond?
Yeah, as far as the list is concerned, of the 50 this year, I think we had about 25 or so new people that had not been recognized in our community before. And, we had different sectors, whether it was business, nonprofit, health and tech, entertainment, and other, also education. I think we had a very balanced group of folks in these different sectors. And as I mentioned, we know that there's some amazing unsung heroes that, maybe we didn't get a chance to highlight, but that's why this happens year over year, and it's an opportunity and a call for each and every one of us to submit and nominate folks that we think should have their stories displayed. And really, at the end of the day, when I think about my kids, I have a 16-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter. And, the way that I operate, and I think that many of our leaders is, being those role models and those mirrors to this young Latino community that exists here, right? To be able to see someone, to be able to lead one of the largest chambers in the country, as a woman, Latina owned, coming from a background of small business and championing our communities and leaders, or seeing a doctor, really sharing impact or changing, how we do medicine, or seeing a nonprofit leader who's really lifting up certain key areas that need resources and development and support, or, soccer stars, that then turn their next careers into development around athletics and getting our kids involved and staying out of trouble and giving them those core leadership skills that they need to be successful in this world.
Yeah, and I like how you talked about that, it being a young group here, because it's so important that even some of our younger people who are in school now see leaders who look like them doing great things. And so it's great to see them being recognized. Who are a couple of the other names on the list people might recognize, or some of the other people that got recognized this year, Veronica?
Well, I'll share out of our Hall of Fame inductees, we had about 8 of them. And one of them is Veronica Moreno. She is the CEO of Ole Mexican Foods. Her story is remarkable. Over 35 years ago, she decided to support her husband, who was going to work and preparing him homemade tortillas. And it was really a company birth out of the love of her husband and nourishing him on the job site. And today, that company is one of the largest Hispanic-owned businesses in the nation. You can find their tortillas and all of their products in, almost every major retail chain. And, I love that story because she talks about how with very little education, she was able to build this almost billion-dollar enterprise. And to also see the family be so active in this company and the work that they do day in and day out. So Veronica Moreno is an inspiring leader for all of us to really see that no matter your background, your education, or where you come from, if you have the will and the desire to succeed and you have an idea and you're serving a gap in the market that's needed, your dreams are possible, your business is possible. And she talked about, the resilience of overcoming adversity, the resilience of overcoming her own adversity about what she thought she was capable of, and then being able to shift that mindset to truly believing. And I say you have to have a crazy belief in anything that you do before anybody else will. But she's one of the amazing stories. Also, Maria Fundora. Who
hey Veronica,
is the
sorry to cut you off.
Restaurant.
We're running out of time, but you are amazing.
I can tell stories for days.
I love your passion. It's amazing. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. We appreciate you, Veronica. Thanks so much.